Good morning everybody and welcome to the session. My name is Michelle Bannister. I'm Operations Director from an organisation called The Working Manager. The focus of the session today is going to be about how can we take face-to-face learning and create effective online programmes. And what I want to do is share with you today how we work with our clients to develop our unique tools within the Working Manager, and just give you a few examples of how they've taken face-to-face programmes and delivered them online. Okay, are you sure you can hear me? Okay, okay. As I'm sure you're aware, there's lots of challenges when thinking about how to take face-to-face, put it on. It's not as straightforward as putting PowerPoint files online and hoping that the learner is going to engage with them. As OD and L&D professionals, we have a number of challenges, and some of the key challenges I've listed here. So how do we get more out of the learning portal we have, or how do we get more out of the learning management system that we have? How do we get more out of the HR system we have? So thinking about the systems within your organisation, how do we get the most out of these of the systems we have? What content can we use? There's a whole variety of content that we could use within the organisation to actually put together some very engaging online content. And it could be you have a lot of content yourself already. You may source content from a third-party supplier. So it's just thinking about what sort of content do you have and that you can use to actually put together effective online learning. And one of the key ones, how do we embed learning into our business and improve organisational performance? We have to think about how we prove and demonstrate an effective ROI within the organisation. So the three tools I'm going to be talking about today is the workbook tool, and that's mentioned in the brochure. There's the learning pathway tool, and also about e-learning. So these are three particular examples that we've worked with our clients to enable them to take face-to-face learning and put it online. So the type of learning interventions we've successfully put online include induction programs, systems training, management development programs, compliance training, and technical and product training. But I'm sure you can imagine that the list is endless, and there's lots of possibilities about what sort of online training you could actually look to put online and take from a face-to-face. But these are just some of the examples that we work with our clients where they've successfully put it online using some of the tools that I'm going to talk to you about. One of the key considerations before I get into the detail of showing you the actual online tool is to actually think about the key stakeholders. And from our perspective, we actually consider there to be four key stakeholders. So we've got the individual learner, the user, we've got the line manager, we've got the OD, L&D professional, and we've got the business. And it's really important to consider when you're thinking about taking learning and putting it online, those four key stakeholders are absolutely critical to actually consider what are their individual needs and requirements. So from the learner, if I'm the learner, this is what I want. I want to be able to learn at my own pace, and I want to have control over my own learning. We've obviously all got different learning styles and approaches, and I actually want to be able to reflect that in the systems and technologies that I'm using. I want to have easy access to the learning. I want to remove as many barriers as I possibly can. I don't want to go and have to sign on to lots of different. I want to make it as easy as possible. Don't put barriers in front of me. So thinking about how we can integrate the different types of learning. I want to be able to see how I'm progressing. So something very, very visual, online. How am I actually going through that programme, and how can I keep track very, very easily and visually of my own learning? And I want a simple and easy way to record my activities. Just keep it simple. Don't give me anything complicated. So that's just from an individual learner perspective. So let's move on and think about the line manager. So if I'm the line manager, I need to be able to track my team's progress. I want to be able to see how they're getting on very visually, and I want it all in one place. And that links on to the next point, where I actually want to minimise the amount of administration I do. I don't want to get bogged down in the administration side of managing the development of my team. I do want a formal way to be able to engage with my team members, to have those more formal conversations that you may have at formal review times. But I also want to be able to engage informally, so it could be that I'm just sitting down with my individual team member and actually talking about their learning, what we can see online. So it's really thinking about from a line manager perspective. That's what we see as one of the key stakeholders. From the OD and L&D professionals' perspective, I want to be able to provide the learner with a variety of learning activities. Again, recognise we're all different. Everybody likes to learn in different ways. We have different learning styles and people learn at their own pace. So I want to be able to provide a real variety of for the learner. I want to encourage this culture of self-paced development and ownership of development. I want to be able to demonstrate cost efficiencies to the business, whether that's from a reduced amount of paper that I'm having to print or a reduced amount of travel that I'm asking delegates to undertake to go to face-to-face workshops rather than undertaking online sessions. I want consistent and up-to-date training content, and if there are any changes, so for example in compliance, if there are any changes that we need to update very quickly and easily, I want to be able to do that. I don't want to have to go and reprint a whole workbook, for example. I want to be able to go and update and make changes immediately. I want programs that can be deployed to a wide range of people, whether that's just in the UK or whether it's across Europe or whether it's across the world. And I'll show you share with you a case study of one of our clients where they did that effectively and demonstrated clear business results. So from the business perspective, it's very much about reducing the cost of delivering the training, maximising the technologies we have, and then to achieve a greater ROI. And actually about having a skilled workforce that is competent and loyal, and basically putting us ahead of the competition. So let's move on to one of the first three tools that I just want to talk you through, and this is the workbook tool. So the workbook tool is a piece of functionality that sits within the client's what we call learning portal. So what I'm going to do is take you through and show you an example of how one of our clients has actually used that workbook tool, taken an online program, taken a face-to-face program, and put it online. And I'm just going to take you through an example of that. It will be fairly a quick example of it, but again, we can spend more time with you later in our stand if you want to find out more information. So the workbook tool, it sits within the system. So it's developed by the client. So they have a piece of functionality, but they take that functionality and then go and replicate and create lots of online workbook tools. And how they put that together, I'll go and show you in a minute. It's instantly updatable. There's no version control issues to worry about. If there are changes, they can be updated. One of the key features is the upload and download of worksheets. So individual learners can go and download a worksheet, work on it, and then upload it for their managers to look at, sign off and be involved in. Easy to track progress for the learner, so that was one of the key stakeholder pieces that we looked at earlier. It's really important that the learner can actually track and monitor how they're getting on with their learning. The workbook allows the manager or the training professional to be involved in that process. So this, I'm just going to take you through an example. So this is an example of one of our clients' homepage of their site, and what I'm going to be. They've got a discovery program here. So they use their discovery program, which was taken about team leader individuals up to the next management level. So they've deployed the workbook tool to actually go and deploy that program through a wide range of business areas. So if I'd clicked on Discovery, so this just shows you the number of books this individual client has put together for this Discovery program. Again, it's very visual. This is what the learner would see. It's very visual. They can see the workbooks that relate to that particular program. And it also highlights when there are new workbooks being added. So it highlights it down the side. Once the individual clicks on the workbook, this is what they would see. So this is one here called Discovery Level 3. The system enables the client to actually create their own workbook front, so they can create their own templates, and they can make it look how they want it to look. And throughout the workbook, there's a series of these icons that can demonstrate to the individual about whether it's consider this, go and do something new, download a worksheet and upload a worksheet. So we're trying to create very, very visual, but this is all put together by the client once they've got the tool. Everything is very visual, so from a user perspective it's easy to track and monitor where they are. So if you look along the top here, there's a series of icons, and these are the different sections of the workbooks. Now you don't have to have all of those sections, but just for this particular client they've chosen to have all those sections. And it's colour coded as you progress here. So the green shows where I am from the user perspective. As they move through the workbook, it visually tracks where they are through the workbook. Again, that's what they've chosen. This particular client's chosen to have all those sections. So what you see down below here, the content section, this is what the client's put together, what they want the individual learner to see. But this is all fully managed within their own content management system. So here is where this is what the user would see downloading or uploading a worksheet. So for example, on the previous screen there was a short answer test. The individual would go and download it, work on it, and it could be they can work on it offline. So perhaps outside business hours they could go and work on it offline, and then they go and upload it again onto the system. And then that then notifies the manager that their worksheet is there ready to be looked at and marked. So you've got this constant view of where you are with the worksheets that can be uploaded and downloaded. And the worksheets, I'll give you an example of the types of worksheets. This is another user view here. So this is the manager view, but in terms of the worksheets here, there's things like, it could be a SWOT analysis, so the individual can go and do a SWOT analysis on themselves. There's a short answer test, there's the achievement record. So worksheets can take a whole variety of different forms. It's very much down to what are the needs of the actual programme. So this is what the individual would see. Again, it's been able to track progress. They can see where the individual's at, and it's used to colour coded to say when a worksheet's been uploaded, when it's been marked, or whether it's waiting for the manager. So again, a very easy tracking system for the individual to see where they are in that process. And you can see the icons along the top where it says manager sign off. That's the section they are in within that workbook. I mentioned the content management system. This is where the tool is actually sits. So it's content management. It's a piece of functionality that sits behind the actual main learning site, and it allows the administrator to actually go and upload their own workbook. So they've got the tool, and I'm not proposing to take you through in detail what the back end looks like, but it's a very simple and intuitive way to load the workbooks up online. But it's all managed through the content management system by the client themselves, and they can put as many workbooks as they want to on the site. You can see down here, these are the different sections of the workbook, and you can basically click and drag along to say what sections you want, and it basically goes on and allows you to build up putting that workbook together. So it's a very straightforward system, but I'm not proposing to show you all the different screens. We can certainly spend more time if anybody wants some more information. In terms of some of the, going back to the key stakeholder groups that we mentioned and some of the business benefits, this is one of our clients. Basically, they took an existing management development programme, put them online and made a saving of €8,000 in printing costs. So there's a very, very clear business benefit straight away. But obviously the other ones, our individual records are kept online, so it's very, very visible, easy to see, and they're not locked away in filing cabinets. And the other key one, the progress is easily visible to line managers. So again, it engages the line managers to have conversations with those individuals. So again, keeping in mind those 4 stakeholder groups all the time, how you demonstrate benefits. This is another business benefit. I'm not proposing to read that out, but I'll be able to share a copy of the presentation with you at a later date if you want to read that in more detail. So the next tool, so that was the workbook tool. The next tool that we're looking at is called the Learning Pathway tool. And again, it's a tool that individual clients can take and take face-to-face content and put it online. This is a piece of functionality that sits within their site again, as in the workbook tool. So the Learning Pathway tool basically uses a blend of learning assets, and those learning assets could be things like videos, it could be audio, it could be book reviews, it could be exercises that are held on the site, it could be articles, there could be a whole range of things, there could be files, you can put PowerPoint files on there, but basically it's learning assets can cover a whole breadth of different types of assets, and the Pathways basically creates like a framework that you go and put them in, but putting them together in a way that makes sense for the learner to achieve their learning outcomes of a particular programme. The content can also be weighted, so you can actually, from a learner perspective, it may be that you can't undertake one section until you've gone through another one, but you can actually weight it. So for example, an exercise could be weighted, say it could be like 10% of the overall pathway, compared to where if I just want a straightforward reading piece, we may actually weight that to be less. So you've got the ability and functionality to be able to weight different pieces of content in terms of their importance to the overall learning pathway. So this is just the icons that we use within our system, just to show the different types of learning assets that we use and the clients use to pull together learning pathways. And so learning pathways, so basically it's a predefined route through learning material on the site. What I'm going to just do now again is just show you a couple of screens, and again I can give you more information and more detail and show you online in our stand if you want any more information. But this is a pathway that was put together, and this was some systems training that we did, one of our clients put together. So this is what the individual learner would see. So there's background information, so setting the scene to the actual pathway. The pathway progress bar, which you can see here, that shows the learner how they're progressing through the pathway. So it's 100%. So as they progress through the pathway, it visually shows them where they are in that actual learning programme. And these bits here, these are the sections that the clients put together for this particular programme. And it's like the contents page. And what they would do, again thinking about the individual learner, they would go and click on the relevant section, and it would actually show these are the different types of learning assets. Excuse me. These are the different types of learning assets that are being used for this particular section in this pathway. So in this instance here, we've got two tutorial videos that have been embedded into the learning pathway. There's been a test of learning which has been developed on Articulate Storyline, and then there's a training guide. So what the individual user the learner would do here, they would actually go and mark off when they've undertaken these pieces of learning activities. Now, some learning activities do also update when they've been completed. So this one here, e-learning, when it's been when the individual has gone through the learning, completed it, that will auto mark it. Same as the exercises and questionnaires. But the other ones, the rest that is on the individual would go off and mark to see when they've been done. So again, it's very visual, very easy to see, very easy to track progress. And then once they've been completed, they'd go and continue to the next section. Again, the manager would be able to see this through what we call line manager view. So this is the individual learner's view, but the manager could also see this as well from an individual perspective, so they can see progress by the individual through that particular pathway. And again, it just allows those individuals to have conversations with the individual learners, whether that's informally or formally. Again, this tool is kept within the what we call the content management. So it's a piece of functionality that sits within the system. Again, it enables the individual to set up as many pathways as they want to. So for example here, so this is one of our clients where they've set up 3 pathways, different types of topics here. One is around continuing professional development, one is a management maximising performance, and one is what we call the DMU, which is the product, which is the systems training. And again, we use icons just to very visually to show what they are. So that would be whether they can edit content, add new sections. So again, it's a very intuitive tool that makes it easy to put together those online programs. The other way that our clients takes face-to-face learning and puts it online is through e-learning, what we call traditional e-learning, whether that's a Captivate file or Storyline file. We work with clients through either where they've got either third-party suppliers of e-learning, where we can take those, embed them into the system and embed them into a learning pathway, or we work with our clients to actually go and create their e-learning subjects themselves. So again, it's just another way that clients can actually take face-to-face learning and put it online, whether that's their use of their own content, third-party content, or we work with them to develop what we call rapid e-learning. So this is just an example of what we've been doing with Sainsbury's. So for their HR manager population, they've basically taken existing employment law training sessions and actually created e-learning topics and put them online for the individuals to access. And again, the individual learner can see how they're progressing. It's got a score, and again, the line manager can see how they're progressing. So it's just another way of where they've taken existing face-to-face workshops and they've put them online. So coming back to the challenge that we spoke about right at the start that we have. So really it's thinking about how can we get more out of the learning technologies we have, whether that's a learning portal, an LMS, an HR system, thinking about how can we get more out of that. What content can we use? What content have we got available to us? What content could we source from third parties? But how can we knit that all together to create engaging and effective online, face-to-face online programs? And then how do we embed learning into our business for improved organisational performance? And that's why the 4 key stakeholders are really important to be considered. So just to finish off, really some key considerations from our perspective when you're considering that question, how do you take face-to-face learning and put it online in an effective way? Key considerations is think about the four key stakeholder groups. What do they all want and what do they all need? They do have different needs, and it's really important to think about them, not just from the learner perspective. What type of learning interventions could be put online? We're not saying everything could be put online, but it's really important to think about what is an appropriate topic area that could be put online. What learning assets do we have that can be blended? And again, just thinking about the variety, going back to the stakeholders and the learner, and what the OD and L&D professional want to focus on. Actually, how do I go and offer my learner a real variety of learning? How will we measure the success of going online? It is not just a case of putting PowerPoints online. It's actually how are you going to measure the success. And one way, as we mentioned earlier, just as an example, could be what are the cost savings we can make to the business. And have we got the skills and resources in-house to put these programs together in an engaging and interesting way, and that's a really, really key one. It's not just about throwing learning assets together, it's actually thinking about how you're going to ensure that it is put together and engaged in an interactive way that actually does meet the learning outcomes of the programs you want to put online. But it does take skill, it does take resource to put together online programs. So they're the key considerations just to end up this session here. So basically, thank you for listening. So I'm conscious it's very noisy, but does anybody have any initial questions you want to ask? If you do want any more information, we're on stand 148, which is right behind you there. So my colleagues are there if you do want a more detailed demo. But thank you very much for listening. And we also have some cookies at the back if you want a bit of a mid-morning or late morning break. So thank you for listening. And then we've got some Millie's cookies at the back. But thank you once again for your time and attention. Thank you.